Good morning guys, and welcome to this edition of Hakka. Today I'm in rural Hsinchu County to explore a really historic area of Taiwan. The small town of Beipu in Hsinchu County and its surrounding area really are a treasure trove of Taiwan history. And what's unique about it is that a lot of the buildings that make up this area's history have survived the rampant redevelopment that has taken place in so much of the rest of Taiwan. Beipu is a predominantly Hakka town, the immigrants from China's Guangdong province arriving in Taiwan beginning in the mid-17th century and settling in what were then frontier regions and opening up the land to agriculture. This process didn't come without conflict though, as records show that there were repeated clashes over land and resources with local indigenous people. One such incident occurred in 1835 when around 90 people were massacred by local tribesmen. In response, Hakka and Han settlers organised an association to defend themselves, a rare example of cooperation between the two groups, who in those days were more often at war with each other. They also built this building behind me, the Jingguangfu Hall, in 1835 to use as a defensive stronghold. The name bearing the characters of both groups' home provinces, as well as the character for gold in the hopes of future prosperity. Now unfortunately it's not open today, so I can't go in and have a look, but there's some photos of the interior just on the side here, which gives us an idea of what it looks like inside. And the dreams of prosperity certainly came true for one of the Hakka founders of the association, Jiang Shoulun, who went on to big things. In fact, his descendants are still key figures in the Beipu community to this day, and this beautiful period building behind me, the Tian Shui Tang, belongs to the Jiang family. Another member of the Jiang clan, Jiang Xin, rose to prominence as a tea trader, making a fortune trading the locally grown leaf during the colonial period, before eventually branching out into mining, forestry and transportation. He built this house at around the end of the Second World War. The unique style was used in a bid to make his foreign customers feel more at home. And the great thing about this place is you can just wander around the alleys and get totally lost and find just crazy, really quaint looking things. I mean, look at this building just across the street. Down here you've got what looks like an old well. There's history everywhere you turn. Seriously, I've never seen this in Taiwan before. It's like a building that's made with, I don't know what it is actually. It's some kind of natural, maybe it's mud and grass. You can see the seeds in there. In the UK we have houses like this were made with mud and grass, and they were called wattle and daub, but I'm not sure what the name is for this in Taiwan. Maybe I can check it out when I get home later, but it's really cool. Check out this building. Must be at least 150 years old. Although it's pretty quiet today because it's a weekday. I came purposely on a weekday because it's probably very busy at the weekend and I don't want to get disturbed by the crowds of people. So one of the famous products of this area is this. It's in English it's called persimmon, and in Chinese it's called 柿子. And this area is very famous as a product. They pick them and dry them, and then they end up looking like this. And they're very sweet and good for your throat if you ever get a cold. So that's one famous product here, but there's also quite a few other ones as well. Oh, this is really good. It's got a little bit of everything. It's got red beans, green beans, zhengzhu, douhua, and Hsinchu. And also those chewy sweet potato balls. I can't remember the name, but when the guy was making it, I thought it was going to be super sweet, but actually it's not. And the tang or the soup is ginger, so it's really, really nice. Very refreshing. Oh, that was amazing. Really, really nice. Now, a nice way to relax after a hot day walking around Beipu town is here at Beipu Cold Springs, which is just a few kilometers out of town. Now, a cold spring does sound a bit unusual as Taiwan is famous for its hot springs, but at this place the water temperature hovers between 10 and 20 degrees C. If it's cold, why is it called a spring? That's because the water is said to be rich in calcium bicarbonate, other minerals and sulfur, which is supposedly very good for your skin. Although the natural colour of the water here can be off-putting to some people. Apparently it's also a really good place to see fireflies, which is usually an indicator of a very pollution-free environment. But obviously that's at night time, and usually it's in springtime too, so there's no fireflies for me today. Oh, let's give it a go. It's pretty cold, but it's nice on a day like today because it's still pretty hot. It does look a bit dirty though, to be truthful. Oh. It's got the usual hot spring feel. There's a couple of pools here. I don't know what the difference is in this one. Maybe it's a bit warmer. I don't think there's any difference between the two pools. Oh, that was fun. Nice way to cool down. Let's head back into Beipu. Another point of interest, just a couple of kilometers up the road from the cold spring, is here at Nei Da Ping. This now pretty nondescript place was once the scene of a terrible massacre around 100 years ago. The incident, which saw more than 100 Hakka males slain by Japanese colonial troops, was part of the historical event known locally as the 1907 Beipu uprising. The details and reasons for the initial attack are not entirely clear, but it has been portrayed in the history books as an anti-Japanese rebellion. What is known, however, is that on November the 15th, local Hakka joined forces with the indigenous Sasayat people to launch an attack on Japanese residents in and around the Beipu area, killing 57 people in total. In response, the colonial government sent in troops who spent the next few days sweeping the area looking for the killers, before exacting retribution on those they deemed to be responsible. The killings here at Nei Da Ping being the most notorious. Many others were arrested and imprisoned. Just a bit further up the hill here is a memorial to some of the Japanese victims of the initial attack. In 1910, a Japanese resident erected a stone monument in memory of 5 young school children who were killed. The monument presently lies on private land and is quite difficult to gain access to. One thing I love about exploring places like Beipu is that there's just fruit and vegetables growing everywhere. I mean, on this trip I've seen bananas, plantains, pomelos, papayas, I've even seen persimmons on a tree. That's a big product of this area, and I've never even seen a persimmon tree before, but saw one today. And even this one here, I don't even know what this is. I think it's a kind of olive that they have in Taiwan, or it could be a juvenile mango. I'm just showing my ignorance here. I grew up in an urban area, so farming is... I have worked on farms in the past, but it's something that I don't know too much about, especially fruit farming. And there's a kind of olive that they grow in Taiwan that's bigger and different to the kind that you see in Europe, and I think... I picked this up off the floor, by the way. I think this is that, but I'm not 100% sure. If anybody knows, then let me know in the comments. This place is pretty cool too. It's like a traditional washing area. See, there's the the big stones, and then you use the water and you can wash stuff, clothes in the old days before people had washing machines and various other things. And the water, the stream just flows through. It's very traditional, very old-fashioned, but I think the Hakka people have most of the population in this area is Hakka. They like to live a traditional lifestyle, so they kind of preserve these traditional ways of life, which is pretty cool. There's a giant river shrimp inside. I'm going to try and get him on camera. Now you may be wondering why I am riding a pink Brompton today, and the simple answer is this is not my Brompton. This is my wife's Brompton. I bought it her as a present a few years ago. What a nice husband I am. And for days like today, in places like this, my green Brompton just doesn't cut the mustard, I'm afraid, because it's only 2-speed, and as you've seen, this place can be quite hilly. This one has 6 gears, so it's much easier for me to ride in places where there are hills. And what's this, you may ask? Well, when you come to Hakka areas of Taiwan, you will always find these things for sale. They're called Bing, and they are a particular favorite of mine. They've got all kinds of things inside. I think there's winter melon, there's some kind of there's meat in there. It's sweet, it's meaty, it's chewy, it's crunchy. They are just delicious, and I'm just about to have one now. Check this. So good. There's also kind of fruit rind in there as well. So you've got like the bitter, citrusy taste, the meat, chewy, gooey, crunchy. It's like an explosion of taste in your mouth. They're very sweet as well, but you can eat sweet stuff sometimes. That was really good. Anyway, I'm done for the day. I hope you have enjoyed your mini tour of the Beipu area in Hsinchu. Highly recommended if you've never been here before, and if you're a tourist coming to Taiwan, then you should definitely come and check it out for the old town feel of Taiwan. Yeah, so if you enjoyed it, don't forget, give me a like, and you can always subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more content, and if you're really keen, you can always click the bell for notifications. I have a video usually every Saturday morning. Oh yeah, one more thing. Whoever bought me a coffee this week, thank you very much. It's really appreciated. Buy me 3 or more coffees and I'll get in touch with you and ask you if you would like a lovely Cyclopedia patch. That's it. I got to get on my bike, go back home. Take it easy. See you next week. Over and out.